Is Lisa at the back ready to go? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is noted that there will be a City Council in-camera meeting at 2:30. At 2:30 p.m., City Council will be requested to consider approval of the following resolution that will take place in a very brief open session immediately prior to entering into the in-camera. And the resolution is that City Council enter into in-camera session to consider the following items pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act. Bullet 1, in-camera report number PP 2019-30 regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege pursuant to Section 239(2)(f) of the Municipal Act. Bullet 2, in-camera report number EC Dev 2019-11 regarding potential acquisition or disposition of land pursuant to Section 239(2)(c) of the Municipal Act. And Bullet 3, review of the regular in-camera minutes of March 25th, 2019. Motion to move in camera, moved by Councillor Sandison, seconded by Councillor Williams. All in favour? It's carried.
Testing 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2, check, 1, 2.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the April 8th City Council meeting for the City of Belleville. It's my pleasure to call the meeting to order, and I'll note that everyone is here. I'll ask the City Clerk to lead us in a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chamber minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Item 3 on our agenda is the disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a few tonight. 8.A.1, Mahar Place Bike Path, previously declared
Okay.
discriminatory. 8.B.2, Bell Boulevard, previously declared. Bylaws 2019-59, same as per above, and 2019-65, just because sometimes at the RV show we touch that Williams.
Sure. So I've noted the first two, and the clerk will remind us when we're doing bylaws so we can pull those two, deal with them separately, and then deal with the rest of those. Anyone else for any? Councillor Sanderson.
Yes, Your Worship. I do not have a conflict of interest, but on 8B4, I'm a resident of Settlers Ridge, so I just want that noted.
Okay, it's noted. Anyone else? All right, public meetings. We have no public meetings scheduled for today. Number 5, reading and confirmation of the minutes of the special council meeting of March 18th and 19th, 2019, the regular council meeting minutes of March 25th, 2019, and the regular in-camera meeting minutes of March 25th, 2019. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? It's carried. Now we'll move to deputations, and we have Mr. Rob Maloney, the Chief Operating Officer of the Belleville Senators, here. Welcome, Mr. Maloney, as we are hot in the playoff race. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just push the button and turn the red light on and we'll be all set.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Councillors. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. Absolutely a very exciting time for us. A very, very big game in another market tonight as Rochester and Cleveland play tonight. So the last time I was in these chambers, someone put a blessing on the Belleville Senators. So I'm hoping that comes to fruition because we certainly need a little bit of help as we go down the path here. So I just wanted to take an opportunity first to thank the City of Belleville for the great show of support last Wednesday. As most of you know, we had our City of Belleville night. Many of the councillors present were here. You also took the opportunity to distribute your City of Belleville guide, which I thought was a great initiative. As the map on the screen shows, you'll see where the ticket takers that come to our games come from. So any opportunity that you have to showcase your community, I think, is well served. As the map indicates, 72% of the ticket takers at our games come from a much greater population than the City of Belleville, and 28% come outside of that region. To be more specific, on the Wednesday night of City of Belleville night, 50% of the audience were not residents of the City of Belleville. So I think it was a great opportunity that you took advantage of, and we certainly appreciate the support, and in particular on a Wednesday night. So again, we thank you very much. Speaking of playoffs, I thought it would be a good time to update Council on some of the initiatives that are ongoing and give you a sense of what's happening because of the excitement around our team. So this past Friday, we had 3 buses of fans from Ottawa. Over 200 fans came to our game as part of a TSN 1200 initiative. Part of that initiative, they broadcast live from CAA Arena for 3 hours into the Ottawa market, obviously talking lots about our product and this community. So that was very much appreciative. I won't play the video for you, but as you see in the middle of the screen there is a video that was playing at all Ottawa Senators games recently promoting upcoming games. So for example, on the Saturday night that I watched the Sens beat the Maple Leafs and really enjoyed that, there was 18,000 people at that game, and that video played 5 times. So we've had a lot of positive exposure that way. And More importantly, at our last game of the season this year, last regular season game, we have 500 fans coming from Ottawa in 10 buses to participate at our game. We're currently working with the Bay of Quinte tourism folks to help promote the region at that game. So we're very much looking forward to that as we get down the stretch here. And I won't play the video for you. Just as a course of business, while I'm in front of council, I thought it would be an opportunity to share a couple of business updates. So our season ticket renewal is trending in a very positive direction. We're much further ahead than we were at this point last year. Our corporate sponsorship renewal is still very strong. We're trending to be well above the 90% threshold, which I can tell you in the American Hockey League is the high watermark for sure. And we are also trending in a very positive direction around new season ticket holders. So all those speak to a very positive environment for the Belleville Senators. As I hope you're also all aware, we have a new ambassador for not just the city of Belleville and the Belleville Senators, but the entire region, as we introduced our new mascot, Belly, just a few games ago. So hopefully by the pictures that we're showing, you can see the reaction that we've received. In particular, with the younger generation, has been extremely positive, and we're excited about what Belly will bring in the days and weeks ahead. The Belleville Senators continue to have a strong economic impact in your region. We currently have 45 full-time employees. We have 100 part-time staff at each of our home games, and in the past 2 seasons, we've put through almost 3,000 hotel room nights into this community. So we're very proud, and we look forward to continuing that. I'd also like to take a minute just to talk a little bit about some of the other impacts we're having on the community. And I appreciate the opportunity to share that I think by the time we play our 4th season, we will be in the vicinity of $500,000 that we've put back into this community. So you may ask, well, where does that money come from? So far, through our 50-50 in partnership with the Ottawa Senators Foundation, once this season is concluded, we'll be in the range of $250,000. But we've also took on some additional initiatives this year. As you can see on the screen, $25,000 in partnership with Shorelines Casino went to the Three Oaks Foundation through our golf tournament. Back in November, we partnered with the Canadian Cancer Society and the Hockey Fights Cancer Initiative that put back almost $20,000 towards a very important program in this community called Wheels of Hope. We were particularly proud of this initiative. The American Hockey League, as most of you are aware, is in much bigger communities than the city of Belleville, yet we were, if not the highest, one of the highest fundraising teams for that initiative across the entire American Hockey League. So that's something that we can all take a lot of pride in. And more recently, since January, with our partner CAA, we've created a new initiative called Chuck-a-Puck. It's been a pilot project that we've started with them. We've done it for 5 games so far this season, and we've raised almost $20,000 that's gone back to the community. So that's gone back to groups like Pegasus Cheer, Belleville Swimming, Belleville Softball, the Quinte Blades, and St. Peter's School. So we've had great success with that, and we look forward moving into next season that we will move that to somewhere between 10 and 15 games, which ultimately means more money going back to the community. Obviously, many of you are season ticket holders. Some of you come to our games. Many of you donate your tickets out to the community, as we do, and that has had a tremendous impact on community groups raising much-needed funds. So we believe we've impacted collectively well over 100 community groups in the first 2 years of our existence, and certainly in terms of being active in the community, whether it's schools, hospitals, our players are our #1 ambassador there, and we're very proud of that. So as we continue to work towards making the playoffs, we also have some other important business that we're working on that I'd like to update everyone on. So in September, the CAA Arena will host the 2019 Rookie Challenge, which is essentially a rookie tournament between the Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators, and Winnipeg Jets. So those 3 teams alone will bring over 100 hotel rooms to our city for 4 days, and that does not include a single hotel room bought by a fan of those teams. I had the opportunity of viewing that event last year in Laval, and I can honestly say to you about 50% of the fan base comes from out of market. So we're very excited about that, and we appreciate the partnership we have with Montreal, Ottawa, and Winnipeg to bring that to our region. And most recently, we've created a partnership with the Sensplex group. The Sensplex group are the group that organize all of the minor hockey tournaments at their various facilities around Ottawa, and many would suggest they are the premier hockey tournament organizers in the entire country. So we've struck a partnership with them, and we look to bring that product to our market. That's one of the things that has always impressed me about the opportunity that we have here, is the facility that we work in every day. So we want to take advantage of that for the benefit of our region. So just wanted to say a big thank you to Council for your continued support. We certainly are excited about what this week will hopefully bring. A huge game against the Marlies on Wednesday, another huge game on Sunday. We need a Cleveland loss tonight, but again, just wanted the opportunity to say thank you, and go Sens go.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Loney. It's a pleasure to have you here. Any questions or comments, councillors? Questions? Well, this is a big week, as you said, and we are cheering for the Belleville Senators to make the playoffs. I know we have the folks here from Costco in the audience, and they are very excited about the chances of the Belleville Senators making the playoffs, and that's part of what brought them here. Thank you for making Wednesday night happen in terms of the City of Belleville
Our pleasure.
Belleville Day. It was great to have so many of our hardworking staff have a chance to enjoy the entertainment and the game. We didn't like the outcome, but it was certainly a good experience, and wish you the very best of luck. Thank you. I need a motion that the deputation by Mr. Rob Maloney, Chief Operating Officer of the Belleville Senators, thanking the City of Belleville for City of Belleville Night and updating Council be received. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Kelly. All in favour? It's carried. Next, I'm going to ask Ms. Debbie Shaw of the Quinte Symphony to come forward, and she is going to make a deputation to Council. Good afternoon, Ms. Shaw.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Thank you for being here.
I'm very pleased to be here. Mayor Panchuk and City Councillors, thank you for this chance to share with you something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is Quinte Symphony. We will be celebrating our 60th birthday next season, and the orchestra has come such a very long way since it began in Badawa with the encouragement and strong support of Thomas and Sonia Bada. They were firm believers in the importance of the arts in the community, and I am celebrating my 30th season as a member of the orchestra. I also have the privilege of serving as the current president of its board of directors. I'd like to give you a little overview of Quinte Symphony, what we are and who we do, and what we do in the City of Belleville to contribute to the culture. Our 40 musicians range in age all the way from our youngest and newest member, who is a 15-year-old high school student who plays the oboe, to the more mature musicians in the orchestra like myself. We have everything from avid amateurs like me to professionals. And we all have one thing in common. We love to make music together. The majority are unpaid volunteers. Only string section leaders are paid. Paid or unpaid, we all rehearse Sunday nights at the Corps from 7 till 10 for 6 weeks before each performance. We come from beyond Cobourg in the west to Kingston in the east, from Prince Edward County and many points in between. We draw from a very large geographical area, but Belleville is our home base. Very few cities the size of Belleville have an orchestra to call their own. This is Maestro Dan Tremblay's 5th season as our music director. He has brought new energy, enthusiasm, and expertise to the orchestra, and he has an incredible talent for working with a very diverse group of musicians. He inspires us all, not just to do our best, but to improve. Our board of directors consists of 7 very hard-working volunteers who are committed to seeing Quinte Symphony recognized as an important leader of the local arts community. Our season has 4 concerts in addition to special events, such as our annual Tribute to the Brave, our children's performance at Family Art Fest, and soon the Mayor's Concert for the Arts. We enjoy collaborating with a wide variety of musical groups. For instance, the Hastings Prince Edward Children's Chorus, the Belleville Choral Society, with whom we performed Messiah in December, a cappella quinty, Sultans of String, the 8-wing concert band, and of course we always love featuring local artists such as Luke Bell and Elizabeth MacDonald. As I mentioned, Belleville is our home base. We usually perform at Bridge Street Church, but we have also performed in Port Hope at the National Air Force Museum in Trenton, the Regent Theatre in Picton at Zwicks Park for an outdoor kids concert, and soon we'll be performing at the Isabel Bader Centre in Kingston. What kind of music do we play? Well, we're an orchestra, so we perform standard orchestral repertoire, Beethoven, Brahms, Mozart, but we also do Tubby the Tuba, Peter and the Wolf, and Canadian contemporary music. We know that we need to reach out beyond the typical concert venue to attract new audience members. So we are always on the lookout for opportunities to do community outreach, such as Quinte Arts Council events, the Plein Air Festival, Art and Wine Festival, the Mayor's inauguration, and Artists in the Community events. We also know that children are our future audience members and potentially orchestra members. They are the future. Children are always admitted free to our concerts. Next week, as part of our educational outreach, our conductor and several of our musicians will participate again in the annual Band Fest. This is a wonderful one-day event which gathers hundreds of elementary music students from 11 area schools for music workshops, master classes, the chance to perform on stage and be adjudicated. Our outdoor concert at Family Art Fest is an admission-free event for the whole family. A very popular part of this is the instrument petting zoo, where the kids get to actually play a trumpet or a cello or a violin. It's almost as popular with the adults as it is with the kids. Even though most of our musicians are volunteers, there are still costs to be covered. Our section leaders for the strings, our conductor, rehearsal and concert venue rental, the purchase or rental of music. Sometimes renting one piece of music for one concert can cost over $800. Designing and printing our programs, advertising, and insurance. Where does our funding come from? From generous private donors, corporate donations and sponsorships, the City of Belleville, of course, fundraising events, program advertising, and ticket sales. In case you haven't guessed already, I'm not a business person. I'm a retired elementary school teacher. And I realize that I am speaking to business people now. So I would like to quote Mayor Panchuk. I recall during his mayoral campaign in the fall that he spoke about the arts at the Belleville Club. And I remember him saying, affordable housing and job opportunities are two economic factors that attract people to the Belleville area. But it is organizations like the Quinte Symphony, the Theatre Guild, the Ballet School, and the cultural life of the community that makes families want to stay here and make Belleville their home. Some of you may be thinking, classical music, not really my thing. I don't own any, and I don't know any classical pieces. Really? I beg to differ. If you've watched a horror movie, you've certainly listened to some classical music, probably Bach. If you've ever watched a movie with a love scene, same thing, maybe Beethoven or Chopin. In fact, if you watch TV at all, you are hearing classical music because advertising is overflowing with it. Why? Because it tells a story and it's full of emotion. One of the pieces that we will perform at the Mayor's Concert for the Arts in May is called Finlandia by Jean Sibelius. During the rule of the Russian Empire, this short instrumental piece was banned. It was banned because it was so stirring and inspired the patriotism of the Finnish people. Music has the power to move people. You may think, I've got a great sound system at home. I can listen to it anytime I want. Listening to an orchestra live is a totally different experience. It's like the difference between wearing glasses and contact lenses, or as somebody in my senior choir said, it's the difference between before and after cataract surgery, the senior choir. Luke Bell performed a Grieg piano concerto with us at Bridge Street just 3 weeks ago. He was fabulous. During the slow movement, with just the strings playing quietly beneath the piano, it was exquisite and it was moving and it was happening right in front of us. You know what they say, where words fail, music speaks. Why should you come to a Quinte Symphony concert if you haven't been before or haven't been in many years? Don't just take my word for it that you will have a wonderful time. At our concert in March, I saw a lady that I didn't recognize who arrived by herself over an hour before the concert. I went over to say hello, and I asked her if she knew anyone in the orchestra. She said no, she didn't. But she told me that she'd been living in a large city in England for over 23 years and had just recently moved back to Belleville to be closer to family. When she went to one of our concerts last year, she was amazed at the musical caliber of Quinte Symphony, and she was meeting her whole family there for the concert that day. She was used to hearing professional orchestras perform and was really delighted to discover just such high quality of performance in a city the size of Belleville. A new volunteer who came to our March concert emailed me right after the concert and said, "What a lovely concert. Thank you so much for inviting us. My husband Rick had never heard a live orchestra before and was totally impressed. He wants to go to more shows." And from my former principal at St. Mike's, "Debbie, it's intermission on Sunday afternoon. I must say your performance is awesome today. I am enjoying it so. How amazing is our orchestra. I so enjoyed this lovely afternoon. Thank you so much." Quinte Symphony motto is, "The music you love, played by the people you know." This is true. One of my favorite things on concert day is during intermission, walking around chatting with people. I see people I used to teach with. I see former students, people from my church choir, and so on. And there is a real sense of community. Our audiences are extremely sociable and friendly. In fact, sometimes it's difficult getting them back to their seats after intermission. They all want to chat. We are so encouraged by the support that we are receiving from the City of Belleville, not only in the form of increased funding through the Community Arts and Culture Grant. Having city councillors and the mayor present in our audience on concert day sends out a very strong signal to the community and to our orchestra members that what we volunteers contribute to the cultural life of our community is valued and appreciated. It means the world. We are absolutely thrilled that Mayor Panchuk has invited us to perform at the Empire Theatre May 22nd as part of the Mayor's Week for the Arts. This free concert, called the Mayor's Concert for the Arts, will introduce many people to the hidden gem that is the Quinte Symphony. Our young concertmaster, Dave Shuchuk, will dazzle. A string trio will delight, and I know we will perform pieces that you will be humming along to or even humming on your way out. Thank you so much for listening to my deputation.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. So it is great news. We're going to have on May 22nd that Mayor's Concert for the Arts. Tickets are available for the public through the Empire Theatre website.
Yes.
It is a free concert, but it is ticketed, as we will have a full house. And if anyone has any information, they can get in touch with my office on that. Any questions from our colleagues? Councillor Culhane.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Debbie, for your deputation, and your
you.
music is wonderful.
Thank you.
So I certainly personally attest that anyone who hasn't had the opportunity must take the opportunity, and then there'll be repeat visitors. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Kelly.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Debbie, just want to thank you for the presentation, and this is National Volunteers Week across Canada, and I look at the members of the group, if you will, all diverse age group and backgrounds, and they're volunteering their talents and making sure others can enjoy it. And I know you're a legendary flute player in this area, so it's celebrating the arts, and with the big event next month, that's a great step, because with the demise of the arts in schools, it's a big loss. And it's groups like yourself that you've been involved with for over 30 years that teach the young folks the opportunity to play the tuba, trumpet, clarinet, harp, or whatever makes it work. So keep celebrating music, because it is a gift, and it's a gift that people can enjoy for the rest of their life.
Thank you. And maybe I should add one little correction. My husband tells me I should not say that I'm retired, because he says I'm busier than when I was teaching full-time. So.
All right. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Debbie, for coming. Certainly your Quinte Symphony is a vital part of our culture and our community, along with the number of the other organizations that make our community so rich with culture, and I commend the mayor for having the event in May. How many people would be in your Quinte Symphony?
Approximately 40.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, anyone else? Ms. Shaw, thank you again. It is a tremendous achievement for the Quinte Symphony to be celebrating its 60th anniversary providing music. You know, I don't have a musical bone in my body, but I do have an uncle through my mother and cousins who are very good musicians. My uncle played for almost 25 years in the Edmonton Symphony, and my two cousins are very accomplished cellists and violin players. And I've had an opportunity to attend symphonies in the past, and I can say that the quality of the Quinte Symphony is as good as any of the professional ones we have in Canada. And the fact of the matter is that most people don't realize that we have that here. And so if something can come from the week for celebrating the arts this year to bring more attention to the work that you and other organizations such as yours that make Belleville such a great place to live, if we can do that, then I think we've accomplished our goal. And more information about the Mayor's Week for the Arts will be coming out next month, and we thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
All right. Resolution is that the deputation by Debbie Shaw of the Quinte Symphony regarding the Mayor's Concert for the Arts on May 22nd, 2019, and providing an update on upcoming Quinte Symphony events be received. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Millette. All in favor? It's carried. Under correspondence, I have one piece. On April the 5th, we received a letter from Mr. Andy Gertzma, Mr. Destin Van Solen, and Dave Miron regarding the item 8B4, which is the Covington Crescent application. So we'll have a motion to receive the correspondence and refer to 8B4. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Sandison. All in favor? It's carried. And now we'll go to Committee of the Whole, and a motion to go into Committee of the Whole to hear and consider reports, passing of recommendations and resolutions with Councillor Millette in the chair. Moved by Councillor McCaw, seconded by Councillor Culhane. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I beg the indulgence of my fellow councillors and staff. I've today just started coming down with a dreaded man cold, so I hope I can struggle through. The agenda, we'll move on to reports. Oh, wait, we need a motion to go into Committee of the Whole. Oh, yes, we did. That's why I'm here. Reports. The agenda shall include, under reports, items that warrant individual attention from council. Item 8A1, City of Belleville Transportation Committee. Deputy City Clerk's Report number DCC 2019-02, and the resolution reads that council approve the recommendations of the Transportation Committee for those items outlined in the Deputy City's Clerk Report number DCC 2019-02, City of Belleville's Transportation Committee, and that a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2019-02, bracket appointments bylaw, be prepared for council's consideration. Do we have a mover? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kelly. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Item 8A2. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes.
I warned you. I warned you. You go blind.
Welcome back, Councilor Williams. Item 8A2, contract number TOS 2019-02, road resurfacing contract, various locations. Capital and Fleet Asset Managers Report number C&FAM 2019-02, and the resolution reads that the tender submission from Greenwood Paving Pembroke Limited for contract number TOS 2019-02, road resurfacing contract, various locations, be accepted in the amount of $1,218,559.34 plus $158,412.71 in HST for a total amount of $1,376,972.05. This being the lowest cost tender received, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the City of Belleville, and that the clerk be authorized to affix the corporate seal. Councillor Carr, Councillor Culhane, all in favor? Carried. Item 8A3, contract number ENG 2019-01, Strachan Street and Harvey Street Sewer Separation Project. Project Manager's Report number ENG 2019-08, that the tender submission from R.W. Tomlinson Limited be accepted for contract ENG 2019-01, Strachan Street and Harvey Street Sewer Separation Project in the corrected amount of $1,438,862.40 plus $187,052.11 HST for a total amount of $1,625,914.51. This being the lowest cost tender received, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the City of Belleville, and the clerk be authorized to affix the corporate seal. Councillor Kelly, Sanderson, all in favor? Carried. 8A4, City of Belleville Policies, Council and Staff, Travel and Expenses. As per the Director of Finance and Treasurer's Report number DF 2019-11, resolution reads that pursuant to the Director of Finance Treasurer's Report number DF 2019-11, Council approved the recommendations of the Audit Committee, City of Belleville Policies, regarding attendance by members of Council at conferences and conventions, seminars, workshops, training courses, and other events, and a policy for business travel, seminars, and conferences staff. I have a mover. Councillor Sanderson, Councillor Thompson, all in favor? Yes. Any discussion? Sorry. Councillor Sanderson.
Through the chair, thank you. I just wanted to make a couple of general comments about the updated policy. What the policy reflects is a lot of really good work on the part of the previous audit committee and staff, of course. And basically, this policy replaces a one-page document that was way overdue in terms of being replaced. So I would encourage everybody to become familiar with it, because it provides opportunities that weren't there before in terms of travel and living. And I'm very pleased as chair of the current audit committee to say that we did make a couple of minor adjustments to it, and look forward to having council support it. Thank you.
Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question on page 90 of the reports. This is the staff policy, just on signing authority. And I noticed that the Director of Finance Treasurer is the signing authority for department heads. And I'm just wondering why we would have it almost at an equivalent level. Shouldn't the authority to approve that travel of a department head not be at the CAO level, considering the department head reports to the CAO? If I get some explanation on that.
And Mr. Kester.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr. So previously the CAO did do it, approve travel expenses and actually P-card expenses. So what that is a lot of paperwork that funnels through our office, and really it is, I mean, we have a very detailed policy now that outlines exactly what's expected of every employee, in fact, and member of council. So it's truly an exercise of just checking receipts and making sure that everything lines up with the policy. So it's very well laid out. There is some exclusions that do require CAO's approval that are outlined in the policy. Otherwise, it's very clear that, I mean, this is typically what finance does anyway. They check all the expenditures. So having a Department of Finance do their normal work is why it's in there. It saves a little work from our perspective. If there's any issues, they can certainly contact our office anyway. And again, certain parts of the policy, they have to do that anyway. If there's any anomaly in the procedure that is requested by a department, it has to come through the CAO's office. So otherwise, the Director of Finance, their own personal travel expense has to come through our office and be approved by the CAO.
Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I'm part of that audit committee. The only thing I would have liked to have seen with this one, I know a lot of them were minor changes. I would have liked to have seen the changes that we made highlighted so that other councillors could pick up those changes, but that was just a thought of mine after I started to read it. So.
Fair enough. Councillor Culhane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because I've been asked the question privately, I'm going to address the answer publicly. Our daily per diem is $80. It covers meals, non-alcoholic beverages. Specifically in this policy, in every policy, as far as I know, that we've ever had. So anyone else who's wondering, there's your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sanderson.
Just to respond through the chair, in part to the comment about highlighting certain areas, which is certainly valid, but we went from a one-page document to, a 20-page document, so you would have to basically embolden the whole thing. But we did take the opportunity to embolden certain parts, and I'll draw your attention to page 2 or page 89. Which is page 2 of the document. And under definitions, you'll see that credit card or debit machine receipts are not acceptable. And are not acceptable are highlighted in bold. Case in point being, there isn't an establishment in Canada or North America or the globe where you are unable to get a receipt from a merchant or a restaurant. So this clearly defines what was a previous practice where credit card receipts were accepted. They will no longer be accepted.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Carried. Item 8A5, terms of reference for the Economic and Destination Development Committee, also known as the EDDC. Manager, Economic and Strategic Initiatives Report number ECDEV 2019-10. And the resolution reads that pursuant to the Manager of Economic and Strategic Initiatives Report number ECDEV 2019-10, the terms of reference for the Economic and Destination Development Committee be received and approved, and that management be directed to advertise for community members, and that a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-02 regarding appointments bylaw be prepared for council's consideration. Well, that would be Councillor Williams and Councillor Culhane second. Any discussion? Councillor Williams, you want to start it off, and Councillor Culhane next?
Sure. Well, I'm very happy to see this today on the agenda, and I think that, as previously stated, I think the main purpose of this committee is to really do some strategic direction and create a new strategy for not only economic development, but what's been added is now destination development, and destination including not just tourism as a whole, but labor force development, attraction, immigration, and innovation and small business development. So really rounding out what we've done in the last 10 years for the regional level to a city level to make sure that we have a strategy that we can then submit to the region in terms of what they're doing. And again, that's the big part of this committee was not only the 3 councillors, but the 3 to 4 public members. And it's important that those public members be there because they represent those different strengths that we have in the community, and I know that we're going to get some good applicants. My only question, I guess, is just, if okay by the chair to bring Director Post up, would just be how long we'll be putting the application out for applicants and how long that will take.
If there are no objections, Ms. Post?
Through the chair to Councillor Williams. We'll go with the standard policy. I believe they're advertised usually for a week or 2 to receive applications. So we'll go with whatever the standard the clerk's office does.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Culhane?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I have Ms. Post back up, please? Manager Post, I apologize. I could have talked to you earlier in the day about my question, but the day just disappeared. So I'm looking at terms of reference dated March 11, 2019. Is that the current terms of reference?
Through the chair to Councillor Culhane, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to suggest an amendment to the resolution because we can't approve it as written due to the fact that under committee structure, one of the 3 councillors has to be the chair of the BRE committee. I am not the chair of the BRE committee, but I am a very interested member. So I'd like to amend it to make it 4. I'd like to remain so that I can learn all about it. And actually, Councillor McCaw is the chair of the BRE committee and should have been the person included, if I'm understanding correctly, in this resolution. So, did I say that right? Was that a motion? I'd like to amend, I want to amend the current resolution to add chair of the BRE committee, currently Councillor McCaw, and allow a 4th councillor, myself currently, to sit on this committee. So I need a seconder.
Councillor Williams, it's your motion, so.
I don't have a seconder. I can do a friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment?
Yeah, I still need a seconder.
Oh, okay.
My own, and I understand where Councillor Culhane's coming here.
I don't have a seconder.
No, you need a second for the amendment? Oh, you're the
Are you okay
seconder,
with
yes.
that?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be okay with the amendment.
The only concern I have is if you know, in the future in this committee, and I know that we have a lot of committees, is that if we have 4 councillors, I'm just taking ourselves off of that. And I do agree that Councillor McCaw would be a great addition, that in the future of this committee, the intent was to have it as 3 councillors and 4 public and other members, just to keep it efficient. I'm not against having the chair on if that's what council wants to believe, but to my point is it was meant to be 3 councillors and 4 staff, so we keep it efficient and just keep it rolling. Now, not to take away anything from yourself and Ms. McCaw at that point.
Oh, and not seeing any intention to do that, but I would like to remain, as I told you initially. I'm very interested in the process, and the minutes clearly state that one of these councillors has to be the chair of the BRE committee. So that's my amendment.
Mayor Panchik.
Thank you. On the amendment, you know, just if who was the seconder on the motion?
Anybody?
On the second on the amendment, was there a seconder?
It was friendly.
Friendly amendment.
Friendly.
If the friendly amendment goes through, then basically I won't be able to attend any of the meetings. Right now I'm an ex officio member, and if we have 4 councillors and myself, that would make for quorum, so I would not be able to attend. But I would just point out that we're not appointing anyone to the committee today. That appointment of all councillors as well as the members of the public will be at a future meeting when the recommendations come back. And while the report makes some comments about councillors, that's not what we're restricted to. Council will make the final decision on who goes on there, except for the fact that one of which will be the chair of the BRE committee.
Okay.
So right now, the only guaranteed member of council that'll be on the committee is going to be Councillor McCaw, because she's chair of the BRE committee.
Okay.
The other 2 or 3 positions, depending how the friendly amendment goes, will be determined when the appointments are made for all the members of it.
Okay, I think.
So am I to understand that your amendment then has to do with the committee structure or the appointees?
It's the committee structure, and I recall the day that Councillor Williams spoke to this issue and named
Yes.
myself and himself and Councillor Carr as members. So that's where I got it in my head that process-wise, of course, you're correct.
I'm going to ask Clerk McDonald to do a little bit of clarification here for us.
Through the chair, for clarification to Councillor Culhane. So the chair is correct, as is the mayor. So that motion originally that you're recalling was ruled out of order. It was not made a notice of motion, so it was left on the table.
Okay.
So the motion that you've made as a friendly amendment, as it sits now, to amend it in the way you were proposing, isn't in order. What would be in order, if you're proposing, would just be to amend the terms of reference, adding a 4th member. But again, seems at this point to be
Not even
early.
necessary. It's not even necessary. No, it's my understanding of the process and what I understood to have occurred already. So how about we just withdraw our
So
friendly
we'll
amendment?
just disregard that last little set too.
Yes, interesting.
All right,
for
so sorry, yes, Councillor McCaw.
Thank you, through you. Just some thoughts on this after reviewing it and, looking at it thoroughly, and I've seen a few different versions of this terms of reference. And I wonder if maybe a simpler solution might be, given the workload of that department already, to add another committee seems a bit much. However, having said that, would the possibility be that we could expand our current BRE committee to encompass some of the things that Councillor Williams had originally proposed? The only thing I would like to not see there would be anything about the mat. I think that that's something that we should steer clear of in the BRE committee, but certainly there's very much of an overlap here with some of the things we do at the BRE committee, and if we could expand the terms of reference, I think we could suit and achieve what Councillor Williams is hoping to achieve just by expanding those terms of reference without getting into a whole lot more of staff having to put together a whole bunch more of information for a brand new committee, when already we have 3 members on that BRE committee, and we're basically dealing with many of these issues. This is taking it a step further. However, if we do expand this committee, it makes it quite simple. We're all doing the same thing. We're just expanding those terms of reference to encompass some of the concerns that Councillor Williams had.
Thank you, Councillor McCaw. Councillor Williams, you...
I'll go again.
I didn't see anyone else, and you were waving
And just to that point, I respectfully disagree on that point, just that the BRE specifically works on the input of business and specifics to sectors, and I think that's one part of this. But the main premise of this was strategic direction. The Economic Development Department hasn't had a strategy or a strategic direction, and they've spoken to that many times. So that's the very primary premise of this. And besides that, it is the budget of working on alongside the budget of that department. It's working on general data and KPIs, measurables, setting targets for what we want to achieve in business in Belleville, and then measuring those. I think the BRE does some great work, and I think it's been mentioned in the future we could probably look at the BRE and how it reacts to that, and maybe at some point. But I think at this time we need to have a strategy developed for economic development in this city, and we need it now, and then we can look at how we bring those all together.
Councillor Sanderson, then Councillor.
Through the chair, thank you. I would like to just touch on Councillor McCaw's point. If we're looking at workload and we're looking at overlap, the terms of reference here indicate that there's going to be 3 possible subcommittees. So I think it might be wise to take a step back and look at whatever synergies may exist between the BRE and this committee, and just sort of, satisfy ourselves that, they are exclusive of one another, or if there are opportunities to streamline both, then we take advantage of that.
Thank you. Councillor MacCall.
Thank you, through you. And honestly, too, after looking at these terms of reference, we're looking for appointees such as a member of the Chamber of Commerce, which we already have in the BRE, a member of Loyalist College, which we already are about to have as a member of our BRE committee. So many of these same individuals will be called as members of both committees. So and I don't disagree that maybe we need a strategy, but I think we can achieve it. I think we can expand it, we can achieve it, and achieve the things that Councillor Williams wants, because many of these same individuals already sit with us at the table for BRE.
Councillor Carr and, yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess, and I have a question through to Councillor MacCall then, as Chair of the BRE. And I know she can't speak for all committee members, but is she prepared to take on the workload that's outlined in this terms of reference? That's, although we have some of the similar members there, this is a pretty wide expansion. So if she is suggesting that there's duplication, is that committee prepared to take on the work that's outlined in this page? Because as far as I'm concerned, what's outlined here is stuff that has been touched on the surface, but has not been touched in depth in some time. The staff report refers to the fact that there was a economic development committee many years ago, but there hasn't been. We tend to rely a lot on our regional partners, but in terms of specifics for the city of Belleville, we need I guess, some political support behind that. So I guess, is the BRE committee prepared to take on that workload? Because as far as I'm concerned, these issues have to be touched upon. This is something that we need to move forward on. So is that committee prepared to do that work? It's, in essence, it's going to be doubling the work.
Okay, at the risk of turning this into a ping pong match, one last comment from Councillor MacCall.
Thank you, through you. And to answer Councillor Carr's question, of course I can't speak for everyone in the BRE committee, but if I'm already on the BRE committee and I'm already, according to this, being the chair of the BRE committee, going to be sitting on a new committee anyway, there's no difference for myself. Same for Councillor Culhane, same for Councillor Williams. So, I can't speak for everybody else, but our member of the Chamber of Commerce is already sitting on that BRE committee and already slated to sit on this committee. So many of these members, you'll have to speak to the other members, but many of them appear are going to be present on it anyway. As far as myself goes, I'm already going to be on it by the sounds of it. So it's really no difference whether it's one committee or two. It just means one day versus two, and a lot more workload for our department here.
Mayor Panchuk.
Thank you. Just on the discussion, and this is a good conversation to have in terms of as we're going forward. And I no disrespect to anyone that I may disagree with on it, but I think it's good we're having this discussion. First of all, the Business Retention and Expansion Committee does a very good job, and it's very important. I think we've had 22 BRE surveys done in the last number of years. I've had the occasion at 2 breakfasts to be able to be where the results of different sectors that were studied were released, and committed that the City of Belleville will be working on addressing those items to make those sectors easier for the private sector to facilitate, to work with, and also that our performance gets better. And I think it's really important. We also used to have a Belleville Economic Development Committee. I served on it from 2006 to 2010, and we disbanded that committee because a lot of what that committee was doing was being done by the Quinte Economic Development Commission. And 8 years later, we are looking at bringing this back because we found that there were a number of items that weren't being addressed effectively by our regional partner, the QEDC. And we needed some more attention from the city that were more local, more specific to us. I think Councillor Williams made a good case for why we wanted to have our own. And I'm not under any impression that this is the final stage. That next year we may be making modifications and adjustments, like we do with all of our committees. We'll take a look and see how they're working, whether they're meeting the needs we have, whether it's too complicated, whether it's not busy enough. This term we've merged a few committees, and we even shut down some committees that weren't meeting. My point is, this is not going to be set in cement that we cannot change it later on. But the most important thing that this committee will be doing, which causes me a concern if we were going to say we wouldn't go ahead with this, is the municipal accommodation tax that we'll be collecting as a city. And we need to have a mechanism for some oversight and some direction provided to City Council so that we can provide direction to city staff. And, again, to me, this was the most important part of what the work of this committee would be, that MAT funding. It's going to be a significant amount of money, and it's important that we think about it in a thoughtful process that's planned. Staff need to have some clear direction from council. This committee will recommend to City Council how those funds will be expended, and that's why I'm not prepared to consider an amendment at this time, simply because I'd like to see this get going, and then in a year from now, when we've had some experience, we can take a look at it again. But it's a very good conversation to be having to make sure that our committees are serving the citizens of Belleville through City Council, and I think this one will, and I'm going to vote in favor of it.
Anybody else? Any further comment? We ready to call the vote? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. The motion is that the following agenda items be approved with the exception of items, and we'll go around the table, starting with Councillor Sanderson.
8B4. Sorry about that. 8B4 and 8B8.
Councillor Williams.
8B2, just because I need to leave the room for that, and 8B4.
I'm sorry, you're leaving the room, you're declaring the conflict on 8B2? Yeah. And I'm sorry, you want to hear?
Same as Councillor Sanderson, 8B4, please.
8B4, all right, yeah. Okay. Councillor Culhane?
No, thank you.
Mayor Panchuk?
8B2 and 8B4.
Thank you.
No, thank
Councillor
you.
Carr?
No, thank you.
AB4.
B4.
No, thank you.
All right. Help. So that's, I need a mover and seconder for those items. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kelly, all in favor? Carried. Chair needs a moment. So we'll begin with, I guess 8B2 was pulled forward. Councillor Williams, you're out. Moved by Mayor Panchuk, seconded by Councillor Carr. The motion reads, the recommendation report for proposed amendment to zoning bylaw number 2076-80 as amended, Bell Boulevard, lots 35 and 36, concession to former Township of Sydney, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings, file number B-77, 2022. Owner applicant John Belanger, Genland Properties Limited, agent Fo10 Consultants, and Ainley Group. And the resolution reads, pursuant to Manager Policy Planning's report number PP 2019-26, the resolution reads that the Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council: that application B77-1072 to amend zoning bylaw number 2076-80 as amended, Bell Boulevard, lots 35 and 36, concession 2, former Township of Sydney, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings, be approved as follows. That zoning bylaw number 2076 as amended be amended by rezoning the subject lands from CH28, Commercial Highway with special provisions, MS Special Industrial Holding Zone to a new CH Commercial Highway provision with special provisions, MS Special Industrial Zone to allow additional commercial uses and to allow special provisions including reduced front yard setback and exterior side yard setback, as well as a parking ratio of 5.5 parking spaces per 100 square meters. And number 2, that a bylaw amending zoning bylaw number 2076-80, being a bylaw to regulate the use of land and the height, bulk, location, size, floor area, spacing, character, and use of buildings be prepared for council's consideration. Anyone wish to speak? Mayor Panchuk.
Thank you, Councillor Millette. What a great day it is for the City of Belleville that we're, after a lot of work from successive councils, back to when Bell Boulevard expansion was first looked at, that today we're in a position where we can now officially go forward. The last time that the City of Belleville would have seen a potential development was when the consideration for the Quinte Mall would have been first thought at, in terms of a facility that is this size and this important to the commercial activity of Belleville. And when we look back and we say that the number of people that come in each and every year because of the Quinte Mall, the number of businesses that are, the number of jobs that are employed, we would all say that was a really important step for us. Well, today we're on the verge of an equally important step as we set forth to welcome Costco and then what the future development will be there. This facility is not just about a 155,000 square foot warehouse membership club that will be first constructed along with the gas bar in terms of the Costco facility. It's also about the additional 14 pads that will fill up the rest of the 40-acre site of 184,000 square feet of commercial retail space. It's about the 800 jobs that will be coming, full-time jobs that will be coming when this project is fully rolled out. And it's about the approximately $2.1 million in initial startup fees and development permits, application fees, et cetera, development charges, and then approximately $1.3 million each and every year in a contribution to the city's tax base. These are staggering numbers that were so much more than what we considered when we looked at the Quinte Mall in the 1970s. So this is a very, very important day for us. Working with the Genland Properties and the Belangers, I just want to say thank you and congratulations to them in successfully negotiating this terrific new addition to the City of Belleville. But I also want to thank the Rice Group, who are the developers of this whole property, for coming. They have brought forth a top-notch professional application. We did not have difficulties in terms of looking at it. They've obviously done this once or twice before, and so they have a pretty good idea of what their needs are on the facility in terms of space, access. This is going to be a very good, modern, well-thought-out development with safe access, with 3 different entrances, including 2 with traffic lights. So those are really, really important, because I've heard a lot of residents who are concerned about the increased traffic up on Bell Boulevard and what will this mean. But, and I remind them and I say, don't worry, your city council's on top of that. We, in this year's capital budget, funded all the preparatory work that can be for increasing the capacity of Bell Boulevard in this area. And with the fact that we will be undertaking our capital budgets this fall, means that we'll be able to get an earlier start on capital projects than we did this year. And so we will do our very best. I don't want to put any undue pressure on our planning department, but we'll do our very best to have our road work done similarly or before this facility is set to open in 2020. You know, again, we, I think, have to, as the current City Council, pay tribute and thank the councils of before us who recognized the potential for Bell Boulevard, invested significant money to ensure that when an opportunity like this came, that we'd be ready. And we are, and it's because of all that work. I want to thank city staff who have worked with Rice Group and with Genland to bring this project forward. And I want to thank everyone that's going to be working going forward to make sure that we are up and going and we can facilitate. Again, this is a very big day for the City of Belleville. It may be one of the most significant announcements of development in our history. But if not in our history, it's certainly equivalent to the announcement that the Quinte Mall made when they first talked about coming here, and I will very enthusiastically be supporting it.
Any other comments? Call a vote. All in favor? Carried. Yep. Okay, the next item that was pulled was 8B4, and it reads, Recommendation Report for Proposed Amendment to Zoning Bylaw Number 3014 as amended, parts of Lots 1 and 2, Concession 3, Settlers Ridge Subdivision, Phase 5, former Township of Thurlow, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings, bearing file number B77-1074, /12T-12503/ER-89. Owner applicant Covington Crescent JV, agent Ainley Group. Manager of Policy, Planning Manager of Approvals Report number PP201925. Planning Advisory Agenda Correspondence Item 5.2 refers, and the resolution reads that Planning Advisory Committee recommends the following to City Council. That application B-77-1074 to amend zoning bylaw number 3014 as amended for land described as parts lot 1 and 2, concession 3, Settlers Ridge, subdivision phase 5, former Township of Thurlow, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings, be denied due to the application being incompatible with other adjacent homes in the area. Other phases of the subdivision have medium density housing within them, and there's not enough parking. Do I have a Mayor Panchuk? Okay, okay, Panchuk and Councillor Culhane, second. Discussion. Let me just get a list here. Okay, Councillor McCaw, go ahead.
Thank you, through you. There's been a lot of talk. We've received lots of correspondence regarding this particular subject. Having worked in that subdivision years ago, I probably have a little bit different outlook than anybody else on it. I spent my weekend, because I obviously don't have much else to do, researching this entire subdivision, its history, and what this change would mean. So I'd just like to take a minute to just talk about some of the concerns that I heard. And obviously I'm hearing here about the parking. The reality is that many of these homes in the existing plan of two-story single-family dwellings would actually have more vehicles. If you calculate, you know, obviously being single-family homes, possibly children that drive, I've estimated it to be about approximately 2.2 cars per home. So in other words, roughly every fifth home would have a third car. which would total about 53 cars. The proposed style of townhome is a one-story ranging about 1,100 square feet. It's designed specifically for retirees, snowbirds, seniors, and single individuals. Each would have a garage, with N units having two-car garages. Given the demographic of the individuals that would purchase the units, it's estimated at approximately 1.2 cars per unit for a total of 48 automobiles, potentially, which is less than that if we had actually built the single-family homes. Now, if staff felt that it was adequate, I don't know why we don't. We can certainly regulate street parking if we find it to be a problem. Second concern I'd heard was about density and conformity. The same model of these townhomes are being built on Farmington Crescent. They're about to start construction very soon. I may add, these units, when I checked, sold within less than 10 days. So it's not as though these aren't popular. These are very popular, and they're meeting the market demand. My research, I found 85% of these occupants that purchase these units are townhomes, are the empty nesters, retirees, snowbirds, and seniors. They prefer, yes, less yard maintenance with little to no stairs. The demographic of these people are opting to sell their larger homes. They're deciding not to rent apartments, which is a good thing for our housing crisis, but yet rather wanting to still maintain home ownership with little to no maintenance. It frees everything up. It frees our rental units up. The people in the rental units are able to move up to their first-time buyer home, because the first-time buyer people are moving up to the new, older two stories, to which these people are selling to downscale to the single one-level townhomes, such as proposed here. Out of 6 subdivisions, 4 of them are actually a building with this mixed density based on the market demand. There was concern about the units being, collectively crammed onto the lot. Given the fact that no side yards are needed because they're all attached, these types of things, they're shared walls. You are able to permit more units on this area due to the fact that you're not having side yards between the units. I heard things like the change in the plan is a cash grab. I'm not going to speak for everybody here around this council, but I will speak for myself, and that is I can't believe that we as a council would consider somebody's profit based on what would be best for our housing crisis. I know after sitting 2 days at a housing summit, we definitely have a housing crisis and not just affordable. If nothing else, I think the takeaway here tonight is that these homes are extreme demand. They're 85% of the buyers are seniors. The townhomes are actually more affordable. It's estimated they will be built at $100,000 less than your average one-story bungalow. These units will be built in half the time than what you would construct the two-story units, single-family units, detached. The homes will conform and currently do to the area. They've been building townhomes just like that in the area since 2012. I have brought with me, and I'll share this map with everyone to see where they've been built and how they have always conformed. I think the developers here, in my opinion, have come to the same conclusion we have during our housing summit, that we need more homes and we need them now. We need them sooner rather than later. They can be built at half the time and for $100,000 less per buyer. This is one of the top-selling areas of Belleville currently. It's, a good practice of diverse housing. They've been doing it for years. I remember selling them back in, I'm going to guess 2012 possibly, when they were first brought into the area. I like the developers and builders are working with our staff and ultimately with us to meet the needs of our housing crisis in the community. And I think that we should be commending them for helping with the solution. And I think we should continue to work with these developers and others to build more and to build properties that are something that is in demand for our area. I'm wholeheartedly going to support it. I'm going to pass this out for everyone to see. And I'm sure you can all assume, and if you don't, I'm just going to let you know now, we'll be having a recorded vote. Thank you.
Mayor Panchuk.
Is Councillor McCaw finished speaking? You finished?
Yeah, I'm just going to point out where
I'm sorry.
Sure.
So thank you. If you look here currently under construction, and I've been out here and I've viewed the site, Farmington Crescent has the same island effect, where these units will be built back to back. They'll be one story. We don't have them backing onto other 2 stories, as was maybe suggested about people in Phase 5 having concerns about this being built in their area. They were initially built, I remember, on Hanover Crescent when I first got involved. Looks like Georgian Crescent has some there as well. And the point that I'm making is the middle of Covington Crescent. They are backing onto each other. 1 stories, any of the 2 stories are on the outer margin of that street. So therefore, I would say that they do conform, and they have been conforming since the beginning of the subdivision.
Okay.
Now, Mayor Panchuk.
Thank you very much, Councillor Millette. So, as I mentioned during correspondence, on April the 5th, we received a letter from Mr. Gertzma, Mr. Van Solen, and Mr. Murin. And I wonder if I can ask Director Beauvais if he's had an occasion to take a look at that letter to see it.
Director Beauvais.
Through the chair to His Worship, although I did have a discussion with the agent for the applicant and was aware that he was preparing the letter, I have not seen a copy at this time.
Okay. Well, I know it came in late. Planning met last week, so it's been a quick turnaround. I think that in light of the new information that we've received, I would like to make a motion that we table this to the April 30th meeting of council, and that Director Beauvais or staff prepare a report including the comments made in the letter. There's a seconder, then there's no debate on the matter.
Yes, we have a second, Councillor Carr. No debate on a tabling motion. Call a vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, I believe the only other item that was asked to be brought forward was item 8B8. Councillor Sanderson and Williams, I believe. I'm sorry? Okay. So, reads as follows. Request for an extension to draft plan of condominium approval, Black Bear Ridge, part of Lot 11, Concession 5. Owner, Black Bear Ridge Development Group, Inc. Agent Kirsten Musgrove of O'Flynn Weiss LLP. And it reads as such. Manager of Approvals Report number APS 2019-12. And the resolution is that pursuant to Section 51(33) of the Planning Act, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Belleville hereby approves the extension of draft plan approval for condominium 12CD-10501 until May 1, 2020. And 2, that the draft plan approval for condominium 12CD-10501 be amended to add a condition approving the grant of a right-of-way and easement for utilities over the common element road in favor of the Black Bear Ridge course lands. I have a motion to on the floor. Sanderson, Councillor Williams, and Councillor Sanderson, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. When I read the document, this thing's been on about an 8-year journey. And I couldn't help but wonder how much time and effort and cost has already gone into this with staff at the city. And so to come along and request yet another extension, I don't think I can support it. So just wanted to pass that on. Councillor
Williams, I think you asked.
No.
Mayor Panchik?
Yeah, thank you. You know, I entirely sympathize with Councillor Sanderson, and we've had, on occasion, some other parts of the city where draft subdivision plans or plans were made, and we had application for us to renew or extend the, I think they're called servicing agreements, or what ended up happening was it used up city capacity for services while these areas remain undeveloped. And we had, last term, we had a particular property to the east of Hague Road, south of, I would say, Victoria, which had been made an application to extend and extend and extend. And the last time it came before council, I said at that point that I would no longer vote for items going forward, that was the last extension, and I wouldn't be supporting it. This one, we've had that, but recently I understand that there's been a transfer in ownership. And so the new operators are actively starting to work. I've seen some of the some soil being moved, and they're doing preparatory work. But in addition to that, it doesn't require any of our services. It's going to be a well and septic, so it's not tying up our capacity for future development. But you know, I think Councillor Sanderson raises a good point, which is that we don't want people coming to us and saying they're going to be moving ahead with development if they're not going to, and tying up capacity. And so, you know, in this case, it appears to me that they're moving ahead. I'll be voting in favor of it, but I do, you know, I'm going to state on the record now that in the future, I'm going to be much more critical of developments. And had this not been a transfer of ownership, I very may well have voted like Councillor Sanderson and not to approve it, but I will in this case.
Any other discussion? We'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Sanderson. We'll move on to Council for Information Matters. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and Council shall consider such items individually. Do I have anyone? Oh, let's go around the table. Councillor Sanderson? Councillor Williams?
No, sir.
Councillor Culhane? Mayor Panchik?
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr?
No, thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
No, thank you.
Councillor McCaw?
No, thank you.
Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay. That the following agenda items be received, and those agenda items are 8C1. Do I have to read them? No, just the following agenda items: 8C1, 8C2, and 8C3. All in favor? Oh, mover. Councillor Carr, Councillor Williams, all in favor? Carried. You never know, I want to get out of this chair right now, do you? One more. Yeah. 8D, I have a motion to rise and report. Councillor Williams, Councillor Kelly, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councillor Millette, and considering your health, you did very, very well. Really appreciate it. We are now on the section called bylaws, and so we have our first reading of bylaws, and if with Council's consent, I'm just going to read the numbers. And Councillor Williams has conflict, so we're going to separate the two items first. 2019-59 and 65. So thank you, Councillor Williams. So we pulled those two. So first reading of bylaws 2019-59 and 65, moved by Councillor Sanderson, seconded by Councillor Carr. All in favor. Second reading of bylaw number 2019-59 and 2019-65, moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Any debate or discussion about these two? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? It's carried. And then third and final reading of 2019-59 and 2019-65, moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Sanderson. All in favor? It's carried. We'll get Councillor Williams back in. Perfect. And then, so we have first reading of bylaws number 2019-55, 56, 57, 58, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 66, and 67. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Culhane. All in favor? It's carried. Second reading of bylaws number 2019-55, 56, 57, 58, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 66, and 67. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor McCaw. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? It's carried. And third reading of bylaws number 2019-55, 56, 57, 58, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 66, and 67. Moved by Councillor Sanderson, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? It's carried. New business. Any new business? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll move to motions. There are no motions. Any notice of motions this evening? Seeing none, we have some announcements. Councillor Thompson.
Just one, and I think you're going to make a couple of announcements where we were, but I want to say congratulations to Gary Foster from Campbell Monuments on his retirement. I had the privilege of taking a certificate out and saying a few words on behalf of the city, so congratulations for Gary Foster, sales manager and owner of Campbell Monuments.
All right, excellent. Anyone else? Councillor Culhane.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to add congratulations for Mr. Foster as well, and he's been very helpful with the Railway Committee, although it isn't an official committee yet. He's been very helpful and intends to continue, and we certainly appreciate that. I'd also like to mention that a bunch called the Legal Brunch Bunch from the courthouse gathered sums of money, and Councillor McCaw and I are part of that bunch, and we did the shopping, and we put on a brunch at the Salvation Army using all of their facilities, and it was very well received, and it was a really good thing to be involved in, and a shout out of thanks to the legal community for doing that, initiating that undertaking, and they're going to continue. I just don't have the date for the next one, but it'll be posted. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I know he's in the audience. I just want to recognize I did a tour of a new tech company downtown Belleville, Tire Wizard, and Chad Gershwitz is here. 15 employees moved from Picton to downtown Belleville in Bridgefront Corp, and all living and working around the area in Belleville, and we're just happy to have them. He's now part of 6 tech companies we have downtown, which is really impressive. So we have a cluster building, and it's just fascinating, exciting, and more to come, we hope.
Good. Anyone else? All right, I have a few announcements. It's been a very busy month. March was a very busy month for us, and I want to just thank members of the Belleville Police Services Board for their budget, and I also want to thank Councillor McCaw for her work on the Police Service Board Finance Committee in bringing in a much more manageable budget and increase in spending this year than we had originally been presented with. I also was able to attend with a number of councillors a breakfast with MP Neil Ellis for the Chamber of Commerce, where Mr. Ellis discussed the federal budget, and there was some good news for us, particularly on the housing front. I was also able to chair the Tourism Business Retention and Expansion Report launch event, where the results of that most recent BRE report was shared with the community. I'd like to thank all of our great city staff for the work they did to pull that together and help with the launch. April is Daffodil Month, and I attended the Canadian Cancer Society Daffodil Month launch along with Councillor Culhane, and I would like to declare April as Daffodil Month in the city of Belleville. And I ask everyone to please pick up a daffodil like some of our councillors are doing, support the work that organization does, and wear your daffodil pin proudly. I also want to talk about how, I'd also like to mention just how moving comments by Councillor Culhane were that she made at the occasion of that official launch, where she talked about not just her own personal journey, but her work as a nurse dealing with people who who are going through with cancer. And I have to say that, while I had prepared comments, Councillor Culhane was able to get up and off the top of her head gave, a terrific speech, and it was the best by far of the whole afternoon. It was very much an honor for me as the Mayor of Belleville to attend the final Viridian Corporation meeting, and then following less than a week later, I attended the very first ever Alexicon board meeting. Alexicon is the new company that was formed with the merger of the former Viridian Corporation, owned by the 5 municipalities, and we now merge with Whitby Hydro. We are now a much larger organization, significant resources and power, and the benefits that Belleville has received from our long-standing relationship with the Viridian will continue now with Alexicon. I'd also like to thank my colleagues on council and all the city staff, particularly the staff from our finance committee, for the very efficient operating budget deliberations on April the 2nd. Not April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but April the 2nd. I was very pleased to wrap up the budget and get all of our hardworking senior staff back to their important positions within the city. This was our first budget as a council, but really we were in that transition year between the previous council and their priorities and ours. And as we now are through that, we can focus on strategic planning and the work that our council will be undertaking going forward. Last Wednesday, April the 3rd, was the first ever City of Belleville night at the Belleville Senators game. I would like to thank staff and their families and friends for attending the game and showing their support for our B-Sens, particularly as they fight for their first opportunity to be in the AHL playoffs. I was also pleased on Saturday to attend the National Volunteer Week breakfast at the Travelodge Hotel on Saturday and join other dignitaries as we recognize the award recipients. I would like to declare this week, April 8th to the 14th, as National Volunteer Week in the City of Belleville. I'm also excited today to announce that I will be leading a 12-person delegation to our sister city, Gunpo, South Korea. This delegation will consist of myself and my wife, Lisa, Councillor Williams and his wife, Allison, Councillor Sanderson and his wife, Christine, Councillor Millette, Mr. Lauren Brooker from Quinte Broadcasting, Tim McKinney and Chris King from the Quinte Economic Development Commission, and our exchange advisor, Simon Kang, and his wife, Cindy. We will be heading to South Korea on April the 19th, and we will enjoy our time visiting businesses and learning more about our sister city, Gunpo, who we have been twinned with now for 23 years. And we're looking forward to coming back and bringing you news about what we learned and what we can apply here in Belleville. It's my pleasure to also announce that today we satisfied the last condition of the purchase of the former Cabaret building, and that project will close at the end of this month, which is being a very well-received announcement by the residents of Belleville, and I appreciate staff working diligently to work through all of the conditions. It is very, very good. And the last thing I would like to say, and I don't think we can overstate it, we're getting a Costco. Number 14, confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw number 2019-68, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on April 8, 2019, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 8th day of April 2019. Moved by Councillor Millette, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? It's carried. Moved to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Culhane. All in favor? Thank you.